Have you ever wondered if the healthy foods you eat every day could silently be harming your heart? Ken Johnson, a 65-year-old who quit smoking a decade ago and drank only moderately, thought he was on track to live to 100. But one day, chest pain landed him in the ER, facing a heart attack he never saw coming. His shocking blood test results, LDL cholesterol at 158 milligrams per deciliter, triglycerides at 245 milligrams per deciliter, and 65% artery blockage, revealed the truth. His diet was betraying him. Are you making the same hidden mistakes? In this video, we uncover the 5 surprising foods that could be clogging your arteries, even if you avoid greasy junk food. From white bread to fruit juice, these everyday items might be raising your cholesterol, spiking your blood sugar, and damaging your blood vessels without you realizing it. You'll hear Ken's emotional journey, driven by his granddaughter's tears, as he transformed his diet and reversed his heart disease risk in just 6 months. His story proves it's never too late to change. Watch until the end to discover the exact foods to avoid, why they're so dangerous, and simple swaps to protect your heart. You'll learn practical tips to replace harmful habits with delicious, heart-healthy alternatives that leave you feeling energized and full. Don't miss the science behind how these foods cause inflammation and atherosclerosis, plus real patient stories that show the stakes. Stick around for a clear, step-by-step plan to start today. Your heart deserves it. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. John Miller had quit smoking over a decade ago and was a moderate drinker, usually just a bottle of bourbon per week. Friends and family often praised his lifestyle, saying with that level of care, he was on track to live well into his 90s or even reach 100. John believed the same. He thought he was doing everything right. No greasy fast food, no heavy drinking, no smoking, so why worry? But then one afternoon, everything changed. John suddenly found himself in the emergency room, clutching his chest, struggling to breathe. At first, the doctors suspected it was just indigestion or stress, but an electrocardiogram, EKG, quickly revealed he was in the early stages of a heart attack. The medical team ran a series of blood tests, and what came back shocked everyone. John's LDL, bad. Cholesterol was dangerously high at 158 milligrams per deciliter. Triglycerides were up at 245 milligrams per deciliter, and his total cholesterol sat at 278 milligrams per deciliter, far above the recommended ranges. An angiogram then revealed a 65% blockage in one of his major coronary arteries, a clear sign his heart was under serious threat. When John looked at me, the cardiologist on call, his face was full of disbelief. "Doc," he said, "I don't eat greasy foods. I watch what I eat. How did my numbers get this bad?" His confusion was completely understandable. So, I asked him to walk me through a typical day's meals and snacks. For breakfast, John usually had 2 slices of white toast slathered with strawberry jam. Lunch almost always included processed meats like sausages or deli ham. In the afternoon, he reached for crackers or cookies and drank a full glass of 100% orange juice every morning because he believed it was healthy. He also enjoyed fried foods like fried chicken or pork chops about twice a week. The problem? John was caught in a common misconception that avoiding obvious junk food was enough to stay healthy. Those 5 seemingly harmless, everyday foods were quietly sabotaging his heart health and landed him in that hospital bed. Are you making similar choices? Do you assume skipping greasy fast food means your heart is safe? John's turning point came when he saw his daughter tearfully sitting by his hospital bed. But it was his 22-year-old granddaughter's sobbing outside the ICU that shook him. Through her tears, she begged, "Grandpa, please don't leave us. You have to be here for my wedding. You have to meet my kids someday." Those words haunted John that night. He couldn't sleep, overwhelmed by the sudden realization that everything he thought he knew about his health was falling apart. The next morning, John looked at me with determination and asked, "Doctor, what do I need to change? What should I stop eating?" From that day forward, John committed himself to follow my advice completely. He gave up all 5 of those damaging foods. It wasn't easy. After over 65 years of ingrained eating habits, changing overnight was a monumental challenge. The first month was the toughest. Swapping out his usual white toast for oatmeal felt strange and bland. Lunches without sausages or ham seemed empty. Replacing his afternoon crackers and cookies with nuts while sipping water instead of fruit juice was a whole new world. For the first 2 weeks, John often complained that food lacked flavor and that he was hungry more often. But he clung to his motivation, the tearful plea of his granddaughter and a deep desire to live long enough to celebrate her milestones. He kept pushing forward, one day at a time, never giving up. After about 3 months, John started noticing real changes. He woke up feeling more refreshed, had more energy, and no longer got winded climbing stairs. His endurance improved, and everyday activities became easier. Then, 6 months after his heart scare, John returned for follow-up tests. The results were remarkable. His LDL cholesterol dropped from 158 to 103 milligrams per deciliter, triglycerides fell from 245 to 110 milligrams per deciliter, and total cholesterol lowered to 195 milligrams per deciliter, all safely within normal limits. Even the angiogram showed a significant reduction in arterial blockage. John's story is a powerful reminder that even small hidden choices in your diet can have big consequences, and that it's never too late to make a change. 1. White flour products. Think about your typical breakfast table. White sandwich bread, buttery crackers, glazed donuts. These common staples might seem harmless or even healthy, but do you understand how they impact your blood vessels and overall heart health? Refined white flour, which is the main ingredient in most of these foods, undergoes heavy processing. During this process, the bran and germ, the parts of the grain that contain fiber, vitamins, and minerals, are stripped away. What you're left with is a highly refined starch that's almost entirely devoid of fiber and nutrients. Because of this, white flour has a very high glycemic index, often over 90, which means it causes your blood sugar to spike extremely quickly after eating. When you consume products made from white flour, your digestive system breaks them down fast, flooding your bloodstream with sugar. This sudden surge triggers your pancreas to release a large amount of insulin in an attempt to lower blood sugar levels. But excess sugar that your body can't immediately use gets converted into triglycerides, a type of fat that then begins to build up inside your blood vessels. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The most serious problem here is something called the glycation reaction. That's when excess sugar molecules bind to proteins in your body, forming harmful compounds known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs trigger inflammation and directly damage the lining of your blood vessels, the endothelial cells, leading to faster development of atherosclerosis, the dangerous buildup of plaques that narrow your arteries and increase your risk for heart attack and stroke. Let me give you an example from my practice. Mark Davis, a 65-year-old retiree, used to have 2 slices of white bread with jelly every single morning, thinking it was a harmless, even healthy way to start his day. Then there was Linda Parker, a 62-year-old woman who loved grabbing a bag of buttery crackers at 3 p.m. as a quick sugar boost to get through the afternoon slump. 6 months later, when they both came back for checkups, their LDL, bad, cholesterol numbers had jumped. Mark's remained dangerously high, and Linda's rose by 30 points, from 135 to 165 milligrams per deciliter. So, what should you eat instead? Switching to whole grains can make a world of difference. Start your day with oatmeal porridge or whole grain bread instead of white bread. Brown rice is another great option. At first, these whole grain options might taste a bit bland or have a coarser texture if you're not used to them, but give it about 2 weeks, and your palate will adjust. You'll find these foods taste better and, more importantly, keep you full longer. Try enhancing the flavor of your oatmeal with a handful of nuts or a sprinkle of cinnamon. If you're transitioning from white rice, begin with a mix of 70% white and 30% brown rice, gradually increasing the brown rice portion as your taste buds adapt. When buying bread, be sure to check the ingredient label. Many so-called whole grain breads still list white flour as the first or second ingredient. Even labels claiming 100% whole grain might contain only 10% actual whole grain flour. If you're sensitive to gluten or have digestive issues, consider alternatives like rice noodles or buckwheat pasta. And if you have irritable bowel syndrome, increase your fiber intake gradually to avoid uncomfortable bloating. Remember, Sugar isn't just a simple sweetener. Its effects on your body go far beyond satisfying a craving. It can quietly set off a chain reaction that harms your heart and blood vessels. 2. Processed meats. Think about the deli counter, your favorite breakfast plate, or even quick lunches you grab on the go. Ham, sausages, bacon. These processed meats are everywhere, but have you ever stopped to consider what they're doing to your blood vessels? Let's break down the 3 major components that make processed meats a serious threat to your heart health. Saturated fat. In just 3.5 ounces, about 100 grams, of ham or sausage, you'll find roughly 0.35 to 0.53 ounces of saturated fat. That might not sound like much, but saturated fat directly raises your LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol that clogs arteries. Sodium. That same serving packs a whopping 40 to 50% of your recommended daily sodium intake. High sodium raises your blood pressure and harms the delicate lining of your blood vessels, making them stiffer and more prone to damage. Nitrates and nitrites. These chemicals are added to processed meats to preserve them and keep that appealing pink color. Unfortunately, inside your body, they can transform into nitrosamines, a group of compounds known to be carcinogenic, meaning they can increase your risk of cancer. Altogether, these factors create a dangerous, triple threat to your vascular system. Daily consumption of processed meats ramps up inflammation and oxidative stress, both key players in the development of heart disease. I remember one patient, David Reynolds, a 66-year-old software engineer who never skipped sausages with his lunch sandwich because he found them tasty and convenient. Then there was Robert Davis, 66, who loved starting his day with bacon and eggs, convinced it was a healthy protein-packed breakfast. But after 6 months, both saw their LDL cholesterol numbers spike. Robert's climbed from 145 to 178 milligrams per deciliter, and blood tests showed elevated markers of inflammation, like C-reactive protein, which were far from normal. So, what should you eat instead? Switch to healthier protein options like boiled eggs, skinless lean chicken, tofu, beans, or fish. At first, these might taste a bit bland if you're used to salty, fatty meats. But don't worry, herbs and spices are your friends. Try grilling chicken breasts with olive oil and garlic, seasoning tofu with a splash of soy sauce and sesame oil, or adding fresh rosemary, thyme, basil, or oregano to your dishes to boost flavor naturally. Beans like edamame, lentils, and chickpeas are excellent plant-based proteins that can keep you full and support your heart health. For fish lovers, aim for blueback varieties like mackerel or sardines 3 times a week. These are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation. Keep in mind that even so-called low-sodium processed meats aren't completely safe. They still contain saturated fat and preservatives that can harm your blood vessels. If you have kidney disease, be cautious with beans because of their potassium and phosphorus content. For those suffering from gout, chicken is usually a better option than fish. And if you have allergies, there are plenty of alternative proteins to explore. What kind of protein do you mostly eat? Have you thought about how it might be affecting your heart? 3. Trans fats. If you think you're making smart snack choices by avoiding greasy chips or fast food, think again. One of the sneakiest and most harmful enemies of your vascular health is trans fat, a type of fat that's been linked to some of the worst outcomes for your heart. Trans fats are found in margarine, shortening, many baked goods, and processed snacks. Unlike regular fats, trans fats have a twisted molecular structure that your body struggles to break down. This not only raises your LDL cholesterol, bad cholesterol, but also lowers your HDL cholesterol, good cholesterol, creating a dangerous imbalance that accelerates artery damage. But the harm doesn't stop there. Trans fats trigger inflammation inside your blood vessels by increasing the production of inflammatory proteins called cytokines and causing oxidative stress. This combination hardens the vessel walls, making it easier for plaques to form and narrowing your arteries, a process known as atherosclerosis. Worse yet, trans fats encourage blood clot formation, or thrombosis, which significantly raises your risk of heart attacks and strokes. Let me share a couple of real-life examples from my clinic. James Wilson, a 68-year-old retiree, made a habit of munching on dried snacks and cookies every evening with a beer, carefully avoiding what he thought were bad, greasy foods. Unbeknownst to him, those snacks were loaded with trans fats. Then there was Susan Clark, 72, who spread margarine on her toast every morning, thinking it was a healthier alternative to butter. A year later, Her blood tests revealed that her HDL cholesterol had plummeted from a healthy 45 milligrams per deciliter down to 32 milligrams per deciliter, almost half the ideal level. So what can you do instead? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Swap out trans fats for heart-healthy fats found in walnuts, almonds, and other nuts. These contain beneficial fatty acids that help raise your HDL cholesterol. Use good quality oils like extra virgin olive oil, flaxseed oil, avocado oil, or even perilla oil, which are rich in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids that support vascular health. When cooking, use olive oil over low heat. And for seasoning, sesame oil adds great flavor without harmful fats. Keep nut portions to about 1 ounce per day, that's roughly 5 to 10 nuts, to avoid overdoing calories. A word of caution: products labeled trans fat-free in the US aren't always completely free of trans fats. By law, any product with less than 0.5 grams per serving can be labeled 0 grams trans fat, so it's essential to read ingredient lists carefully. Avoid anything with partially hydrogenated oil or margarine listed. They're red flags for trans fats. If you have diabetes, keep nut intake to a moderate handful daily. For those with nut allergies, olive oil or avocado oil are excellent alternatives to get those healthy fats without risk. Understanding and avoiding trans fats can be a powerful step in protecting your heart and arteries from damage that may not be obvious but can be deadly over time. 4. Fruit juice and sugary drinks. You might be surprised to hear this, but even 100% fruit juice, something many people consider a healthy choice, can harm your heart health. Eating whole fruit and drinking fruit juice are two very different experiences for your body, and the effects on your blood sugar and vessels couldn't be more different. Here's why. Whole fruits contain natural fiber, like pectin and cellulose, which slow down how quickly sugar is absorbed into your bloodstream. When you drink juice, though, all that fiber is removed. What's left is a sugary liquid that causes your blood sugar to spike rapidly. Add to that the fact that it takes about 3 to 4 whole oranges to make a single glass of orange juice, concentrating the sugars. Your liver then converts this excess sugar into triglycerides, fats that get stored in your blood vessels and raise your risk of heart disease. The danger isn't limited to just natural sugars either. Many sugary drinks, especially sodas and flavored beverages, are loaded with high fructose corn syrup, a processed sweetener known to increase insulin resistance, accelerate fat accumulation, and make you feel less full, leading to overeating. Let me share some examples. Linda Harris, a 63-year-old schoolteacher, drank a glass of orange juice every morning because she believed it was an excellent source of vitamin C. But 6 months later, her triglyceride levels had skyrocketed from 185 milligrams per deciliter to a worrying 240 milligrams per deciliter. Then there was William Turner, 67, who chose sugar-free juice as part of his diabetes management. Unfortunately, the concentrated sugars in that juice still caused a significant spike in his triglycerides. So what's a better option? Water is always the best choice for hydration. If you want some flavor, try unsweetened barley tea, green tea, black tea, or oolong tea. Just be mindful of caffeine content. Avoid drinking strong tea late in the day if you're sensitive, as it may interfere with sleep. If you want to enjoy fruit, eat it whole, and do it slowly. Aim for about 1 piece of fruit a day, preferably eaten an hour after a meal to help minimize blood sugar spikes. Whole fruits provide fiber, which helps you feel full longer and supports healthy digestion. Beware of sugar-free drinks, too. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose might seem like a safe alternative, but research suggests they could disrupt gut bacteria and cause issues with long-term consumption. Always read labels carefully. Even products labeled 100% natural can contain concentrated or added sugars hidden in the ingredients list. If you have diabetes, limit your fruit intake to about half a piece per day to keep blood sugar in check. For those with kidney disease, opt for low-potassium fruits. What drinks do you usually reach for during the day? Have you ever thought about how they affect your heart and blood vessels? 5. Fried foods. Let's talk about some of America's favorite comfort foods: fried chicken, pork cutlets, tempura, and of course, crispy French fries. While they might be delicious and familiar, these foods can seriously harm your blood vessels. Here's why. When oil is heated above 356 degrees Fahrenheit 180 degrees Celsius, it undergoes a process called oxidation. This changes the oil's molecular structure and creates harmful chemicals like aldehydes and ketones. These compounds damage the delicate walls of your blood vessels and trigger inflammation, which is a major factor in the development of heart disease. Most fried foods, especially those from restaurants or fast food chains, are cooked in oils that contain trans fats or have been reused multiple times to save costs. This reuse increases the levels of toxic byproducts, making the food even more dangerous. Another hidden hazard is acrylamide, a carcinogen that forms when carbohydrates and amino acids react at high frying temperatures. Acrylamide directly damages the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels, speeding up vascular disease. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I've seen the impact firsthand. Take George Simmons, a 66-year-old retiree who regularly enjoyed fried chicken and French fries twice a week with his family, along with his beloved eggs. 2 years later, he ended up in the ER with severe chest pain. An angiogram showed a 70% blockage in his main artery, a life-threatening condition. Or consider Michael Taylor, 64, who ate pork cutlets daily at a local diner for over 3 decades. Just 1 year later, his LDL cholesterol jumped from 120 mg per deciliter to 165 mg per deciliter, and tests revealed arterial plaque buildup. What's the healthier alternative? Choose grilled, steamed, or boiled dishes instead. Air fryers have become popular for a reason. They give you that crispy texture without the need for large amounts of oil. Opt for grilled chicken rather than fried, lean cuts of meat instead of fried pork cutlets, and steamed veggies over tempura. Cooking at home more often and cutting back on dining out can lead to noticeable improvements in your heart health within just 3 months. Use olive oil for cooking on low heat. Add flavor with garlic, onions, or fresh herbs, and marinate your meats to boost taste while preserving nutrients. Be wary of fried foods cooked in dark, foamy oil. That's a sign the oil has been reused repeatedly and contains more harmful compounds. If you have digestion issues, gradually reduce your oil intake and consider digestive enzymes to help your system adjust. So, which one of these changes would you be willing to make first? In summary, vascular disease isn't something you have to accept or rely solely on medications for. Simply cutting out these 5 types of foods can help revive your blood vessels and protect your heart. Stop eating white flour products. Switch to whole grains instead. Stop processed meats. Choose natural, lean proteins. Stop trans fats. Use healthy fats like olive oil and nuts. Stop drinking fruit juices. Drink water or tea instead. Stop fried foods. Opt for grilled, steamed, or boiled options. After more than 50 years and thousands of patients, I'm convinced these changes work. Like John Miller, who made the switch and saw dramatic improvements. 6 months of dedication can transform your blood test results, physical health, and overall quality of life. Start today with just one simple change. Don't try to overhaul your entire diet at once. That's overwhelming and hard to maintain. Swap white bread for oatmeal at breakfast. Trade sausages for boiled eggs at lunch. Replace salty snacks with a handful of nuts. Drink water or tea instead of juice. Or choose grilled chicken over fried on weekends. Pick the easiest change and stick with it for 2 weeks. You'll notice the difference, and naturally want to keep going from there. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with me through this important discussion about heart health and the hidden dangers of everyday foods. I hope you've learned something valuable today that can help protect your blood vessels and improve your quality of life. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing from this video that surprised you or that you plan to start practicing in your daily routine? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I read every single one, and your stories inspire me and others in this community. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your family and friends who might also benefit. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any future videos packed with practical health tips. Your support means the world to me. Together, we can take steps toward healthier hearts and longer lives. See you in the next video.